Welcome to our weekly live Sundays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'm so excited to come to you and answer your question about which spine corrector should you get. There are so many. And I know many of you know that my tour that we do is sponsored by Balanced Body, and I am a Contrology demo center. And so even if you just go to Balanced Body and their Contrology line, you're like, okay, but now there's so many to choose from. So I want to answer this question. It's one of yours. You drop in the comments on our videos. And so if you have a question you want me to answer, you can drop it in on any video on this channel, and we will put it in our Sunday live lineup. And then when you're here live, you can ask questions. So please, by all means, drop comments below or just share what your takeaways are, because it's really fun for me. Don't worry, I've got someone there watching the screen to relay any questions and aha moments with me. So I want to get into the spine corrector talk, and I've got a small barrel here in just a second, but I also want to say the timing of this question is really fun because I'm actually about to spend the entire weekend, next weekend, on the barrels with my Elevate members. And Elevate is my mentorship program for teachers, and it is a virtual program. And so if you are a comprehensively trained teacher who is wanting to put more dots together, if you just feel like you learned a lot and you know a lot, but like sometimes you feel like there's gaps in that understanding, you feel confident in a lot of areas, but also your practice has maybe gone by the wayside and you're not as curious, or sometimes wondering like what it is that you should be doing. That is what Elevate is for. It is there to help elevate your practice, your teaching, your connection to the method, and also like ditch this like idea of like having to always come up with new exciting cues when really the exercises themselves can teach us a lot of things. And so speaking of teaching us a lot of things, let's talk about the spine corrector. So the spine corrector, this is a Contrology spine corrector. It came out beginning of this year, and it is my absolute favorite. Oh my gosh, I do get on this every day. Like every day I get on this and at least do my arm series. It is so delicious. But the spine corrector, I don't have a ladder barrel in this living room. Otherwise, I would be able to show this to you. So the reason I love the Contrology spine corrector, and why we'll talk about all the different spine correctors out there, is because the spine corrector hump is actually supposed to be, and always was, the same hump as the ladder barrel. And so what you'll see is in these host of all these different types of spine correctors that are out there now, this barrel hump is actually quite different than your ladder barrel. And so so I will always vote you should get the Contrology spine corrector. And if you would like my discount link, then you just need to let us know. You can hit me up on Instagram with your email and I'll get you connected. But this is the one that I'm always going to say. But let's talk about the other ones and what's going on with them. Because I think that if you have a different one than this, you might want to know how you might have to adjust how some things feel. Okay, so I obviously don't have the foam barrels here, like the Clara barrel that's foam, or the Arc that is foam. I don't have the East Coast barrel that Balanced Body makes, and I no longer have other classical line barrels. This is a small barrel, and it's a different brand than my Contrology, but it's what's nice about the small barrel, and I'm sure Contrology will come out with their version, is it's just a little lower. So let me put it next to it so you can just see. But it's lower, like a lot. And so what's nice about this is for my fun size folks or my tight people, this is a great place to get started. It's really great for the leg series when you're fun sized as well. So if you are a teacher watching this, having both of these sizes is quite nice. But if you can only afford one, you're going to get the spine corrector. Okay. So of course I love having a ladder barrel, a small barrel, and a spine corrector. Obviously it's a luxury for me. But the thing, I wish I had these tools here. It'd be so fun if I just had like random equipment I don't use. Yeah.
Is this similar to Clara's?
So this the question is the Contrology barrel similar to the Clara barrel? Ish and no. Ish. Hi, Michelle. Ish and no. And there's a couple differences, one being the step depth and the other, being the hump. So this barrel is based off of one of the ones that Joseph Plies had created. So the actual handles are in a different place, which actually makes it so much nicer for when you're grabbing onto them. It feels more like you're doing the hug or rolling like a ball, or double leg stretch. It allows your back to get much wider. The handles on all other barrels if they exist, are in a different spot, which makes you a little bit more like this, which gets it a little bit more in the biceps. So if you have a Clara barrel, I'm not saying you have to get rid of it. However, I will tell you that you could sell it for whatever the cost is on a website, maybe 10% less, because people don't have to pay tax or shipping. I'm a big fan of how high resale value is on equipment. So the Contrology barrel looks similar to a Clara barrel, but it is much different. The Clara, so the foam stuff, the reason I don't like the foam, obviously lighter is nice, but lighter also doesn't allow for you to do certain exercises. For example, when I do teaser on this barrel, facing the legs at the hump, the foam barrels are not heavy enough so that when you're going backwards, your foam barrel is gonna go with you. So I don't love a foam barrel for that. You want some weight against you. You want some weight to work with. This is not as heavy as other brands out there, so you still have to work your two-way stretch, but that's going to be different. Also what is interesting about the foam is it's not very welcoming. It's also not very kind. So that's why I just don't love it. This is also very firm. So it's not like it's like a couch cushion you're just going to crawl into. But the Clara barrels do look similar. And so if you have a Clara barrel or East Coast barrel, I don't think you have to throw it out today. What you can do is keep your eyes open for someone who wants to buy it and then get yourself a Contrology one, because I promise you'll just love it more. You'll love the way your body feels on it. You obviously can use this side of the hump if this is too steep for the arm series. The arc, the thing about the arc and some of the other barrels that are similar to it, I'm not going to knock them. I think it's really important. I don't want to be taken out of context because equipments are designed for the style of Pilates that created them. Okay, let me say that one more time. So if a style of Pilates created a piece of equipment, that piece of equipment is designed for that style of Pilates. That goes for reformers, one-to chairs, barrels. So I can't say that the arc barrel is bad, because I don't teach the way that what it was created for. And so what it was created for is great for what it's created for. But if you're trying to use the arc or other barrels that are like that for a classical work, you're going to miss out on some things. And that doesn't mean it's bad or classical is good. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that they're different. It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to make an analogy of trying to drive a stick shift car. Like you have to drive with the stick shift. You can't drive it like an automatic. You can't go like that shouldn't have to shift. Right? So you have to change how you drive when you drive those things. It's the same thing. So if you have an arc and you're trying to do a classical work with me, and this is what I talk about with people in my Elevate group, is first of all, kick the step off. Again, I wish we could have interaction here. So it has two pieces. Kick the step off and use that side where the step was for your leg series and your arm series. When you put the step back on, you can obviously do your teasers and your hip circles. Now, because of where the divots are for your hands, it is going to change how you can have your shoulders open. So keep that in mind. You might have to put your hands on the floor. You might have to change how you do things. You may just go, wow, I'm not going to do classical work on this piece. So if you are trying to decide, and I have got you before you've hit purchase, and you want to do work like the arm series and the leg series and really work on your back bends, then you do want to be on this. And I'll show you, I think I'm in view to show the body. What's so nice about this is the body becomes the shape of the barrel, right? So then if I want to do swan someday on my reformer, you can see how this is teaching my body what the extension is. If the hump is lower, then that's not going to give the body the longest extension, right? If the hump is lower. If the hump is straighter, like some of those East Coast barrels, this looks straighter, then my back isn't going to be able to mold to the actual piece of equipment, right? I don't love the wood framed spine correctors, the ones that have the wood on the sides. And here's why. If you are wider in the chest, if you're a wider body in general, that wood is going to be uncomfortable. It's not conducive to a body just being able to drape on the barrel. Plus, if you want to lay on top of this for your ab series or your 100, you're going to have that wood in your back and in your shoulders. So it's just not ideal. So I personally don't love those. When I did the barrels deck, which it's in print right now. So if you bought it on pre-sale, thank you so much. If you haven't bought it yet, you can't order yours. They'll ship probably in a couple of months. When I was doing it, I was like trying to think like what barrels do we need to include? Obviously the small barrel, the spine corrector, and the ladder barrel. I did include the C-shaper because it's a reverse ladder barrel. It's the same curve as a ladder barrel, just the reverse. So boom. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So it teaches the body that kind of stuff. So if you're only going to get one barrel, you're going to get the spine corrector. Like that's going to give the most versatility, and you can really do a nice long workout on the spine corrector. It also could be your warm up. For those of you who only have access to your mat, the spine corrector is a great way to warm up. For your mat, I know for me especially, like I'm going to do my mat in the morning, I definitely need to do my arm and leg series on here just to open things up. So I hope this is helpful. I really also hope that like if you have something different than me, that you're not looking at like, oh, I got the bad stepsister over here. You don't. You have something that's probably really, really great. But what I would just say is like, notice what you're struggling with to form to the barrel. And is it you? It could be. Is it the equipment? And if you haven't bought a spine corrector yet, then I highly recommend getting the Control Edge one. It's not terribly expensive. You do need to know these things are hand sewn, which is why they are not like free. But it is really awesome for giving you the things that you're going to want to do. If you have a Control Edge spine corrector already, congratulations. Any spine corrector you have, you can do the workout I have here on this channel that's free. It's 20 minutes and it will work on anything. Again, if you're working with the arc, I would just kick that step off. And that's going to be really nice. That's the other thing. This top part here, some of the barrels, the arc isn't even on both sides, like the apex, I should just say, whatever you call this. I skipped some classes in geometry, whatever you call this part, okay, of a circle. It is, some of them are two different sides, which makes balancing on top harder. That means swimming, swan, rocking, grasshopper are going to be affected. Okay. So that's why you want it to be even on both sides. So you have more space here to balance on your center. So if you, have any kind of spine corrector, if you're using the arc, you're going to notice that it's quite difficult to balance on top. But that doesn't mean avoid the workout. Just notice what you have. And then again, like put a few bucks aside every week, save up, sell your arc, get the one that I love, and then let's play. On OPC, we actually do have a 50-minute spine corrector workout. And I use I show you how you can use the spine corrector to do your short box series, because if you don't have a ladder barrel, that's really fun. And I also show you how you can use your spine corrector to go overhead, which is also very fun. We have free tutorials coming out on that very soon. So make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss anything from us. And if you live on any one of the 13 cities we're going to on tour, I hope to see you. Go to opc.me/tour. Thank you so much for joining us this Sunday. Thank you for your questions. We'll be live next Sunday before we hit the road, which is so fun. And then don't worry, we will do our lives from the road where possible with the tour and continue to answer your questions. Have an amazing day.